Hi everyone, I'm Miss Erin, the garden teacher here at Lou Sutton. Boy, it has been a really long time since I've had any students out here to enjoy the school garden with me. Your teachers and I thought it would be a really good idea to do a little bit of a garden tour and get everyone reacquainted with our school garden. And for those of you students and maybe even teachers in our Lou Sutton community that are new, this will be your introduction to the garden. In a little bit, we'll do a garden tour and I will walk around and we can see what's growing. We can see what changes have happened since the spring, because I know there have been a lot of changes since the spring. But before we do that, I want to show you guys a few of my most favorite things that have been growing out here in the garden. So I'll show you them here that I've picked. Look at these. Some beautiful yellow cherry tomatoes. And also this one is one of my favorites. Look at, do you see how dark it is? And on the bottom it's very red. Another very beautiful tomato. This is a very special variety that comes from Russia. It's a very old variety of tomato. Okay, another thing that I would like to share with you guys. It's big. This. What is this? Who knows what this is? This is a butternut squash. This is a kind of winter squash. This has been growing for, about 6 months. It takes that long to go from the seed to get these. And we have very, very many of these squash out here in our garden. They're delicious. You may have had it before in soup, or sometimes roasted and maybe put in salads or in other dishes. It's very bright orange on the inside and very, very beautiful. Okay, and then this is maybe my most favorite. And on the outside it looks kind of funny. Why does Miss Erin have a dried up old, what is it, corn? Why do I have a dried up piece of corn? Let's look on the inside. You know, sometimes nature gives us maybe not the most attractive thing to look at on the outside, but on the inside, we find something that is beautiful. And that's really what's the most important, right? Look at this. Have you ever seen corn like this? It's so beautiful. And I'm seeing, I hope it's coming through on the video, I'm seeing kernels that are many, many different colors. I see yellow and greens and very dark blue, almost black in color. I'm gonna break this husk off. Maybe we can get a little bit of a better look at the corn itself. Now this corn is very hard. If I tap it on the table, it's very hard corn. This isn't corn that I would eat, like normal corn on the cob. This is corn that you can use to make popcorn, or you can grind up all of these kernels and make flour, or you can just use it for decoration on a fall table, which is something that we can talk about in a few weeks. But isn't it special? It's so beautiful. We're gonna see how these grow when we do our garden tour. Okay, a few more pieces of business before we get up and move around. So typically, when I would see classrooms out here in the garden, we would talk about the rules of the garden and the ways that I need students to work together and ways that we can all act in the garden to stay safe, like with our gardening tools. Our number one rule of the garden, which many of you I hope remember, is that you're always walking and we're being safe so that we can all safely enjoy the garden and have this be a wonderful space. Another thing that we talk about out here in the garden is the importance of working as a team. Many parts of gardening are done as a team, especially when classrooms are out here. Maybe we're working on turning over some of the soil, maybe we're working on doing some measurements and recording those measurements, and we very often do those as a team. Very many parts of gardening depend on teamwork. Now, I realize that doing this distance remote learning at home, we're not really in teams as we would be if we were out here in the garden. But those are just some things that I want you to keep in mind as we wait on coming back to school. And I really do hope that when we transition back to in-person learning, that we can get some teams out here and start doing some more work and helping out in the garden. Okay, so should we take our tour? Let's go do that. All right, guys, so I'm back here in the back corner of the garden, and as you can see, there are some bare spots. There are some things that are looking a little bit dry and maybe different than the last time we saw them. For example, our fig tree here. Look at these beautiful figs. Do you all know what figs are? They're a delicious fruit and they're so beautiful on the inside. When we're done with the tour, I'll take some pictures of some things that we talk about, and maybe I'll cut some things open so we can see the inside. Here's a Granny Smith apple. This tree actually looks very happy. So as I was saying, you'll notice that some parts of the garden look different. Here, for instance, is a part that's pretty bare. We had some watermelon plants here. And over here we had some other winter squash plants. And they were just done. They did their producing for the year. And so now I've taken them out and we can get ready for our fall garden. Look at our corn. Now it is all dry and it's very brown. And that's okay because that's what happens to corn at the end of the season. Now all of those we can cut down and we can use them as decoration. The birds are really enjoying having it. I think right now for a little bit of, they can camouflage themselves in there. There's some bugs in there that the birds are able to eat. So it's a very nice little habitat for some of our smaller creatures. Here's our rosemary plant that many students know about and enjoy smelling and tasting. We've even propagated some rosemary in the past. I wonder what propagated means. Maybe you should ask your grown-up if they know what propagated means, and that's something that we'll talk about in the coming weeks. Oh, look at this plant. Now this is a favorite of many, many students here at Lou Sutton. It's very big. I'm not sure I can even get a very good shot of it. This is our fennel. And again, a lot of students really enjoy coming out here and nibbling. All of these little yellow bits are very tasty, kind of taste like black licorice. This is a pollinator plant, so it makes bees very happy and other flying insects, hoverflies, even the occasional cucumber beetle. But this plant tastes delicious, and I plant it every year so that students can enjoy it. Do you hear that sound? Do you hear the rustling of the corn? So not only is this providing a habitat for some of our creatures, but it's actually giving us a wonderful sensory experience. It's letting us hear the sounds that it makes while it blows in the wind. There's so many senses that come into play in the garden. Different things that we can see and smell and touch and taste. Here's something right now that my eyes think are very interesting and very beautiful. Our zinnias, beautiful colors, bright, bright pink. And I see that these zinnias are mixed in with some tomatoes. Look at all the different colors, right? This one back here is very ripe. This one is almost ripe. And these are not ripe quite yet. Almost. Isn't it great that plants give us options for when things are ready to be picked, so that we don't have to worry about trying to pick them all at once? More of our zinnias. And one more little pollinator plant. This is our lantana. Butterflies and hummingbirds and bees love this plant. And many of you might remember, these plants have these little berries. But they're not blackberries. They're not even berries that we can eat. They're berries that birds enjoy. They're also the seeds of the lantana plant. After these flowers are done growing, see how easily they come off? So those are all gone. And now around this little green nub, these small green seeds will form. And when these green seeds are ready, they'll turn into these. And then the birds know that they can eat them. All right, let's see more tomato plants here. Ooh, these plants are looking kind of rough, huh? Look how many there are, oh my. I need to do some work. I sure do miss you guys out here for specifically things like picking these tomatoes, because I know if my students were out here, most of these would end up in your mouths, which is why I grow them, right? Tasting tomatoes is one of the best things in the garden. Here's some more. I see some red tomatoes hiding back there. And there's some more red tomatoes hiding under there. But if any of you remember from last year, I grew some of these loofah gourds at my house. And what happens is when they're done growing, this green skin turns very brown and almost like paper. And you can peel it off. And what's underneath is something that is very light brown in color, and it looks like a sponge. And you use it like a sponge. You can do your dishes with it. Some people put loofah sponges in their showers or in their bathtubs, and they can actually, you can help use it to scrub your body like you would with a washcloth or other kind of loofah. And we have so many of them growing out here this year. I'm so very excited. Oh, and let's not forget these, the lemon cucumbers. I know these are also a favorite of a lot of students. Do you remember how many lemon cucumbers we had last year? I remember taking so many into the cafeteria. Hey, thanks for hanging in there on that tour. I hope you enjoyed it. I hope you saw some things that made you feel really happy. I hope you saw things that made you think and go, what is that? Something you've never heard of, maybe. I want you to know that we're going to be doing these videos regularly so that you can feel engaged in this garden space until we get back into in-person learning. I really am looking forward to doing some really fun, exciting things with you in this remote learning kind of way. It's definitely different, but it's different for all of us, and we're all doing this together, which is, I think, the best part. So, cheetahs, I hope you have a wonderful day. I really look forward to the next video and seeing you guys in person soon. Remember, always eat your veggies and try something new. See you guys soon.